Hello, 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 and welcome to yet another show review of Drew Carey's Improv-A-Ganza. Hooray! This is, I do believe, the 9th show review, the second show of the second set that I went to. Just for clarification, I did not go to every single taping. There were 20 tapings. I went to 14 of them. I missed the 6 that were in the middle. So the shows I'm reviewing were the last 7 set, just if anyone is curious about that. Excuse me as I pry a cat off of me. Anyway, so yes, this is review number 9, hooray! And it was the second show on February 3rd, 2011, and it was with Greg Proops, Kathy Kinney, Drew Carey, Sean Masterson, Jonathan Mangum, and Ryan Stiles, of course. And I just have to say that although Sean was originally announced to be part of the main cast, unfortunately Sean was only able to be at 2 shows, which is very sad. Mainly because he had time constraints and has been busy doing other things. So, but it was very good to see Sean perform. I've seen Sean perform a couple years ago, and a few other times, and he's a wonderful performer, and a very congenial man, and lovely, lovely to talk to, and a lot of fun. So I was very happy to see him perform, and I wish that he could have been a part of more shows, but, you know, you take what you can get, and I was just happy that he was there for the 2. So, Sean, I give you my kudos. Anyway, the first game, of course, was freeze tag, like always, which, again, involves every performer. The second game was... Oh, no. I can't go to the second game yet. I have a special note here about something that happened in freeze tag. Ha 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 ha. This was one of the best things that happened at any of the shows. By far, one of the funniest, best things that happened. Period. Jonathan Mangum is a very physical performer. He does a lot of physical comedy, which I love because he's so energetic and he brings a lot of enthusiasm to the stage. And he's always doing all these antics and getting on his hands and knees and jumping and rolling and whatever it might be. Anything to get a laugh. And at one point, Jonathan was pretending to be a lizard. And he was on his hands and his knees and he crept to the very edge of the stage. Well, at the edge of the stage, there are tables, which are level with the stage. And Jonathan crashed into one of the light bulbs, broke and shattered the light bulb, and then there was a couple sitting at a table that he was right in front of, and they had a bag of popcorn, and he reached down and with his mouth took the popcorn in his mouth and lifted his head up and showered himself with popcorn, and of course showered the table with popcorn and showered the stage with popcorn, and it was absolutely hilarious. I could not stop laughing. The whole audience could not stop laughing. And of course the couple was shocked and everyone else is shocked. And Jonathan was just sitting there beaming. Because it was just so phenomenal and very well done. And I'm sitting, there's pauses because I'm sitting here like laughing inwardly as I remember it. And what was better was that Drew called for the waitress to bring the couple a new thing of popcorn. And they did. And it was an even bigger thing of popcorn. They had a little bag, and then the waitress brought a big tub of popcorn. And the moment it was laid on the table, Jonathan sprang forward, got on his hands and knees again and did it again with the popcorn all over the couple, all over the table, all over himself, with his mouth, you know, being the lizard again. And it was just, I'm cracking up over here. Just, that's how funny it was. And I hope that they show that, because that was just the best. The absolute best. It was so funny. And I think he tried it again a third time, and then they all managed to kind of like pin him down before he could do it again. And I talked to Jonathan later after the show, and I commented about that, and he said the whole show I was trying to figure out a way to cleverly do it again, but I never actually did. Because they brought the couple another thing of popcorn, so we were all sort of waiting for him to try it again, but he didn't actually do it. But still, the fact that he did it twice and broke a light bulb, so then they had to get the crew out to fix the light bulb. Yeah, it was so good, so funny. One of the best freeze tags ever. Anyway, the next game they played was New Choice, and it was with Kathy and Sean, and Drew did the calling. Excuse me. And, anyway, yeah, and Sean was a fitness manager for Kathy. And then the third game was Song to an Audience Member, and it was Drew and Jonathan who sang. Yes, Drew and Jonathan. Interestingly enough. Again, I love it when people who don't normally sing... Sorry, I'm being attacked by a cat. Get. Oh, kittens, as Greg would say. Sorry about that. Drew and Jonathan sang. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I love it when people who don't normally sing. Because it's different. It's new. And they may not be, you know, the most amazing singers ever, but it's still so much fun to watch them. And they sing it in the style of a soul ballad. Yes. The fourth game was Options. And it was with Greg and Ryan. And it was about racing. Like NASCAR sort of racing. The fifth game was Two-Headed Expert, with Kathy and Drew as one pair, and Jonathan and Sean as another pair. And the suggestion for this was, and I kid thee not, a bathroom in North Dakota. They asked a lady what was her most dreaded, what thing she dreaded doing the most in her life, and her response was going to the bathroom. And I think they asked someone else, like, what place they hated the most, and someone said North Dakota, and they combined those two, if I remember correctly. And so, yeah, that was the suggestion, a bathroom in North Dakota. Yeah. It actually was a really good Two-Headed Expert, though. The sixth game was Sound Effects, with Kathy and Ryan. And they were garbage men, you know, people who come and pick up your garbage. And the seventh game was Forward Reverse with Drew and Sean, and that they were at an air conditioners trader show. Air conditioning trade show, yeah. Sort of, I don't remember a whole lot about that game. I don't even remember that suggestion, but I wrote it down, so it must have happened. The eighth game was Kick It. Oh, Kick It. New game, I think. Yeah. Kick It was a new game. And again, I was like, yay, new game! Kick It, I'm trying to remember if they played it on Whose Line or not. They might have. It's a rap game where Greg, the scene was that Greg and Jonathan were exotic dancers, quote unquote. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And anytime at all someone else who was calling the game could say kick it, and whatever they said last, they had to make a rap about it, and then they had to keep making a rap until the caller would say word. I'm just trying to remember if it was played on Whose Line. I'm pretty sure one of you will know if it was played on Whose Line or not, or if there's a game similar to it. But I really enjoy Kick It, actually. And both Greg and Jonathan, I remember they did tremendous at this game. And my friend who was with me, whenever they would start actually doing the rapping for it, we would kind of like bob our heads and sway and be like, yeah. We have way too much fun at the shows, I tell you. Kick It was fun, and we were just happy for there to be a new game. The 9th game was Moving People, and it had Greg and Drew, and it was Free Shoes Day. Hooray, free shoes. Of course, suggested by a woman. The 10th game was Sentences, and it had Ryan and Kathy, and the suggestion was Goodbye Navy. And it was about Ryan being kicked out of the Navy repeatedly. And, of course, the final game was Mousetraps yet again. And this time it was Sean and Jonathan. And they were folding the laundry. And once again, Mousetraps. I love Mousetraps with all my little beating heart. Sean is sort of the king of Mousetraps. And Sean always just loves doing Mousetraps. And Mousetraps hasn't been played. Before Improv-A-Ganza, they did the Drew Carey's Improv AllStars. And Mousetraps hasn't been played in, I think, 3 years. So I was really, really happy for them to bring it back. I love Mousetraps. And the fact that, of course, again, the other performers who aren't blindfolded will throw the mousetraps at them and set them up and make them, roll on the floor or whatever. I think there was one part that was like stop, drop, and roll for fire. I can't remember if it was this game or if it was the first show. But the stop, drop, and roll was hilarious because then, of course, there are mousetraps going off everywhere. But that concludes my show review for show number 9. And then my next show review, if I remember correctly, she says, as she goes to glance at her notes, yes, I am correct. My next show review will feature Wayne Brady. Indeed it will. So tune in a week from now, and that show review will be posted. Hooray. Hope you've enjoyed these, and again, thank you for listening. I shall talk at you later. Bye.